What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League Review Show. I am joined today with a special guest. Mr. Rami is in the building. Prime Loans, our league leader. He took the L. By one point, he took the L. But you know what? He's still our league leader for the Football Capital Cup. Guys, what a week he has been, so especially the football. But let's get straight into the results quickly, and we'll touch on Rami. We'll see your team a little bit as well as the league leader. We had Man Cave United picking up the 3 points up against Sunday Ballers. The United Pubcast up against Aussie Spurs TV. A big hiding there. And I think, I'll get this right this time. United Pubcast, the highest score this week. Last week, it got a bit of a mix-up. I said Rami was, but it wasn't. The Football Tragics got it there. And the football capital by 1 point gets on top of Rami. That Marcus Rashford goal did the job. The 3 bonus points there. The Football Tragics dropping points to the Boot Edition. Skits and Giggles, bit of a howler again. 17 using a minus hit, I think, up against Scott Borg from It's a Football Thing podcast. The Aussie Gooner, he thought he had it. He was calling me up saying, I want it again. Had 3 from 3, but he lost out to Seagull Socials. KG, the Suburban Dreamer, you took another L. You took a -8 hit. You shouldn't have. So I know some of the plays that Ivan Toney got a return. Martinelli, you got points there, but I think you could have kept your minus points.
Koulibaly with the -2.
Yeah, but he transferred him in, and he's dropped the points there. So I think if he just makes that 1 transfer or 2 transfers, he possibly ends up winning that one, or at least the draw. So still on 0 points there for KG. Red United TV losing out to RBTV there. Kicking off with Cat and Nick Stav, 50-50. First draw of the competition. We get a draw there. And Tanya taking the L to Munzi Talks. That wraps up the rest of the week there. If we quickly look at the upcoming fixtures. So we got Josh from the Sunday Ballers up against Tanya there. Munzi Talks up against Kicking Off with Cat. Again, is that again? Why are they versing each other? Or did he verse Tanya? Yeah, I think he did. Nick Stab up against Red United TV. RBTV up against KG.
Can KG record his first win?
Yeah, up against his other podcast over there, Red and Black Block. 1-0 Costa there up against the Aussie Gooner. Seagull Socials up against Skits and Giggles. I want to verse Skits and Giggles. They're just taking L's every week. The IFT Pod up against the Football Tragics. The Boot Edition up against the Football Capital. Rami Prime Loans up against the United Pubcast there, Tom. And Aussie Spur TV looking to get off the mark with a win against Man Cave United there. So that's our Game Week 4 matches. Rami, this week's results. Some big hitters, some players we're still waiting on. I'll look at you. Let's go into your team. Since you're our league leader, I know you lost this week, but a league leader, I want to ask you a question. Trent, Salah, Diaz, Liverpool players in general. Do we keep him in? When is enough?
Look, I think for me, most people find it hard to get rid of like a Salah, because I think regardless, even today, they got outperformed and he still scored. For me, the howler so far, is Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, Trent.
Because you're paying 7.5 million for a defender. 7.5 million for a defender, and he's just
even not, like, all right, you don't have him in your team, but Robinson as well is another one. He was at 7 million when he started off. Yep. I'm not sure if they've gone down yet. Trent still hasn't gone down, but Diaz, have a look at Diaz, still hasn't gone down in terms of value. Yeah. A lot of people still keeping him in. You saw the fixtures that they had: Fulham, Crystal Palace, and then United. They got slapped up. You think Liverpool, what they did last year, they'll put some points on the board, but is it time, Rami? Is it time to start thinking about getting rid of these Liverpool players, bringing in some with a better differential? The next fixtures for Liverpool: Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Wolves, before the game against Chelsea then in game week 8. But
it's hard because you know what, we spoke about it off camera, and it's always like knowing your luck, you take him out, he scores next week, or assists, or he finally kicks off, So it's a hard one, but obviously we discussed some ways of, adding value to your team if you don't have players like Perisic, saving yourself 2.5 million. You know, we spoke about, obviously, the likes of Saliba and Gabriel from Arsenal. You know, Saliba's 4.6 million, only selected by 8.3% of the managers.
And that's the thing. If you guys want a differential player, Saliba got a goal, a clean sheet this week.
Arsenal's on fire.
Arsenal's been on fire. And if we go look at Arsenal's fixtures, and this could be a good replacement. Obviously, he's a defender as well, so it could be a replacement for maybe Trent Robinson. Some people still got Van Dijk in their squad, so that could be a direct replacement. Cheaper as well, 4.6, could go up by the time this video we release this video. But look, Arsenal with Fulham, Villa, who've been shaky, Man United. It's always a question mark. It's always a question mark. Everton, Brentford, and then game week 9 they got, you could say, probably the hardest one there up against Tottenham. So it's a question. Do you bring someone like Saliba in? Even Gabriel we got there in the back. Good money for value, and also a differential in terms of if you want to get up them leagues or in your mini leagues as well, or your head-to-head. So that's
you want the competitive edge. Like, I mean, if we're saying Saliba's been selected by 8.3%, we know everyone's got Alexander-Arnold, including us two. But you're saving close to $3 million there just by getting Alexander-Arnold for Saliba. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's almost a $2.9 million saving. So I don't know, man. I think it's something to definitely think about, look into. But it's a tricky one. I don't know if we're gonna do it. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, look, Saliba, like we're saying, is under that 10% owned by the managers at the moment, 8.3%. So it's a good pick. Gabriel at 8% as well. Mm-hmm. But Rami, you took out Perisic this week in your squad.
What a mistake that was.
You might need to bring him back in. So that's another good option there, like you were saying, you'll save.
Yeah, and it was silly because obviously I put Shah from Newcastle. He sat on my bench this week because I looked at their next fixtures coming up. I kind of had 2 transfers because I didn't do a transfer in the first 2 rounds. Saved myself a week for obviously game week 3. Put Shah in. You know, obviously I put Gross in, which did me pretty decent. But I got rid of Bailey and Perisic. So it's always tricky, man. It's always tricky. I thought, Perisic wouldn't be starting yet. Clearly, I was wrong. And I think he's going to be starting the next coming games too.
Came on last week, assisted Kane. This week again, assisting Kane. So that's some good options there under that 10.5 ownership. I want to go over some differentials in terms of under 5%. Under 5%. One of them, Gundogan.
Massive standout. 3.8% of managers have selected him. You know, he's scored 2 of the last 3 rounds. Very heavily involved in the team's performances, and obviously he's 7.6 million. So yeah, he's not on the cheaper side. Yeah. But for a City starting player that scored 2 out of the last 3 rounds. Exactly right. And if you look at some of the other players, like your Diaz, could be a good replacement for Diaz as well. Diaz is 8 million. You look at someone like Mason Mount. If you got Mason Mount in your team, Gundogan's cheaper, not owned as much. So there's a differential there. Who else is in that 8 million? I said Mason Mount. Yeah, there's a few people. Saka hasn't been really performing for Arsenal. I know they got some decent fixtures, but when you got Gundogan and the way Man City are playing, I know they got the draw, but when there's goals involved, Gundogan's involved as well. 3.8% of managers. Just keep telling yourself
that. And also just under that 5% ownership as well. The 2 boys that scored this morning, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho. Now, between both of them, Rashford is the cheaper option at 6.3 million. That could rise by the game week 4. And also Sancho, who started off at 7.5, has dropped to 7.3. But if you look at the confidence that they're playing with this morning against Liverpool, with Southampton, Leicester before that Arsenal game, There could be the difference.
Yeah, and this is where we speak about things like, like we spoke about earlier. You get rid of Alexander-Arnold, put someone like a Perisic, save yourself 2.5 million. You can get rid of Andres Pereira, which everyone has, and then boom, there you go. You've got a Rashford or a Sancho in your midfield. So,
yeah, that's right. And another one as well, just to wrap it up here. Callum Wilson for Newcastle. Newcastle been looking decent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Been looking decent. Callum Wilson has been getting on the score sheet as well. I think that's 2 goals for him this season. And he's looking too bad. Looking too bad, sorry.
3.2% of managers have selected him. Not extremely cheap, 7.4 mil.
That's where...
That's the part that kind of holds you back, because it is Newcastle at the end of the day. But like I kind of, when I was going over it, in the next 7 games, the only real difficult match is game week 5 against Livo. Otherwise, it's pretty easy fixtures in the next 7 games.
And they're playing well.
Quality
playing
football.
well as well. And
we saw them get the result, obviously, against City. So
got good. And also, another player there for Newcastle is Trippier. I know he's owned by the 23% of the managers. So it's not so much of a differential, but at 5.1 million, if we're talking about defenders at the start, replacing Trent, Van Dijk, your Robos. If you got one or the three, or if you got two of the three at least, maybe Trippier is an option there.
For a defender that takes their set pieces especially.
Exactly.
They've got rid of City out of the way now, got the result. They've got Liverpool in game week 5. Up until game week 10, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, and another one there that I kind of mentioned when it comes to Diaz, Maddison. I know Leicester haven't been performing, but Maddison's been getting the goals and coming up with the assist as well. But Rami, if we're looking at my pick of the week, and not just of game week 4, but some of the next fixtures coming up, Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Now, he just sits on that 15% ownership for Tottenham, but 18 points so far. 13 game week 1, 2, and then 2 again. Didn't get the goals the last couple of weeks, but if we look at Tottenham's fixtures with Nottingham Forest this week, that could be the big one. We could see goals. Kulusevski is usually involved in some way.
Yeah.
Some way there. Followed by West Ham, Fulham before that big game week 7 against Manchester City. My opinion, Kulusevski is my pick for game week 4.
Yeah, and like you look at my team like we did earlier, Luis Diaz is 8 million. I've got 0.2 in the bank. I could easily go Kulusevski for Luis Diaz.
Hey.
Tottenham's on fire.
Don't give away all your secrets yet, mate.
That's what I'm saying.
Allegedly.
And then before you know it, I've done something else. But no, that's just an idea. I'm starting to think about in my mind. But a very excellent pick of the week. I think Kulusevski, Tottenham's on fire. Easy fixtures coming up. Decent price. I think 8.2 is a decent price. Obviously, he's a cheaper version of Son. If you want a Spurs player in that midfield, but
exactly.
yeah, looking good.
And last one, man, Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah,
Wilfred Zaha.
Absolutely.
10% ownership. He's gone up by 0.1, so 7.1 million. A total of 21 points so far.
Absolutely, he looks
3
like
goals this season. 2 in the last game against Aston Villa. He did miss the penalty. I think he lost points there, but he's still got the rebound, got the goals. Anyway. And that's another option there in your midfield. We're talking about players to replace some of the Liverpool ones. Maybe. Let us know. Let us know if it's time to cut these Liverpool players out one by one, slowly, get rid of them. Or do you give them another chance? I mean, you look at their fixtures and you're like you were saying at the start. They haven't scored any points yet. Once you get rid of them,
it's gonna happen.
You got Diaz banging them in with that left foot or right foot, whichever way. But look, Zaha is another great option, I reckon, as well. He's been on fire. Crystal Palace as a team have been on fire as well. They've been pretty good. But guys, let us know who your picks of the week is, especially for the differentials. Yeah, under 5% ownership, under 10% ownership. Give us your tips. I want to know because I'm fourth. I'm sitting in the Champions League positions. I need to catch this guy up. So
it's very easy, man. It's only been 3 rounds. So
it's only been 3 rounds, but yeah, let us know what you guys think for the upcoming round.
I think. Look, really quickly. I think my pick of the week we spoke about it earlier. Probably Saliba, for his price, for Arsenal's form, for the games they have coming up, and the other ones to keep in mind are the Leeds boys. Rodrigo, Jack Harrison. Keep them in mind.
They're going up in price as well. They're going up in price.
Jack Harrison selected by 2.3%. Obviously, Rodrigo is more popular with 19.6%. But really, the next 7 rounds, the only tricky game is against United in game week 8. So there's a lot to think about. With players that are coming up.
Yeah.
But I'd say Saliba is my pick of the week.
Do you know the hardest thing as well when we're talking about picking your players and who to bring in? If you leave it to like towards deadline, the prices start going up. Because remember, the prices don't go up by how they perform. They could score 5 goals. Their price is not going to go up. It's by ownership.
Popularity, yeah.
So if more people transfer them in, their price starts to rise. If more people transfer them out, and we saw that with game week 1 with Kane and Haaland, where everyone made that transfer over to Haaland, got rid of Kane. Kane dropped that 0.1 where Haaland went up that 0.1. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, if one of your players gets injured in that game week, make a transfer before even the round kind of ends, because you don't want to wait to the end, and you have to take a minus hit like we've seen on some of our some of the games in the Football Capital Cup. But yeah, look, Rami, thanks for joining me on another episode, guys. Like I said, leave your thoughts below on who to bring in and out, your differential picks for game week 4, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.